Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from Skiessentials.com.
I'm Bob. How's it going?
Welcome to our third 2022 ski comparison video. We've kind of been bouncing around in widths to start.
Yep.
And now we're going narrower into the Mid-80 all-mountain collection.
Yep.
A lot of people, specifically this year, have been asking for comparisons that are kind of more geared towards intermediate level skiers. And there's a huge range in skis up here, but I think this is a really good one for intermediate skiers, especially like, you know, over here on the left side of the wall.
Yeah, and I think that we see, like you said, we have a huge range of skis here. Probably one of the most popular groups that we actually see on the mountain.
Yeah.
You know, that 88 to 90 is kind of like right in the meat of the all mountain, but even that's like a little bit on the wide side for your everyday resort skier, which I think that this selection really fits into that everyday resort skier from a varying, you know, degree of backgrounds and applications.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good, really important group of skis here.
Yeah.
So this time we have it organized from least expensive to most expensive. In our last Top 5 Fridays video, we had you guys guess. A lot of you did guess correctly. I think like
the Stockli and the Kastle on the end is a giveaway.
But yeah, we've got a $900 range in prices up here. And something else that's interesting about this category is a lot of these skis are system skis, meaning that they come with bindings, like integrated bindings.
Yeah.
So kind of the way that we decided to do this is we're going to go least expensive to most expensive, and we're going to go by the price including bindings. Now you might be thinking, like, what about the ones that are flat? For all of those skis, we here at Ski Essentials do have them offered with a binding.
Yeah.
We call them killer deals. You typically get like a little bit of a price break, like $25 or $50 price break over choosing the same ski and binding independently. So we're going to go off that. We're going to go off the price including bindings, and for the flat skis it will be the binding that we have chosen to match with that ski. Yep. So a little bit different, but I think it's going to make sense as we start getting into them. And to kick things off, we have the Mindbender 85 from K2. This ski comes in at $544.95, and it's paired with a Tyrolia Attack 11. You'll see a lot of Tyrolia Attacks in these packages. We do get questions why that is, and pretty much it's because we can get them for a little bit less than comparable bindings from other manufacturers, and they have very good performance. So we're able to kind of offer a slightly less or slightly reduced price as opposed to if we used other manufacturers' bindings.
Yeah,
so.
and they're perfectly wonderful bindings.
Yeah,
you know,
they're great.
Not a huge difference.
Yep. So right around 1,700 grams in this Mindbender 85 from K2. Unlike the rest of the Mindbender line, this one just relies on a wood core. So we get an aspen wood core in this ski. Pretty basic construction. What's nice about it is it still is vertical sidewall, or mostly vertical sidewall, sandwich construction. Maybe a partial cap would be the best way to describe it. But it's still, you know, it's still high-end construction. Even though there's no carbon or no metal in this ski, it's still a very well-built ski. In terms of shape, we get camber underfoot. In fact, we get quite a lot of camber underfoot. And then you get basically the same shape that we see in most Mindbender skis. You get a little bit of tip rocker up here, some nice gradual early taper, not drastic early taper by any means. And then just a little bit of tail rocker, not as much as the tip, pretty low splay back here, and just a touch of taper the way it kind of rounds out the finish of the tail there. So Mindbender 85, you know, it's just an extremely well-rounded, affordable all-mountain ski.
Yeah.
If you're an intermediate or even like a beginner skier, maybe a somewhat experienced beginner skier, I think this is a great choice. You can carve turns on it. You know, it's not the strongest or the most responsive carving ski, but it'll certainly carve, no problem. There's camber underfoot and there's a wood core. We've talked about it at length. That's basically all you need.
Right.
And then you can take the ski off trail too. The rocker and taper shape makes it, you know, less catchy than some skis up here even, which gives it a nice forgiving feel, very approachable ski for a developing skier.
Yeah, and my big point on this is the camber underfoot. That
Yep.
With that basic construction, they build the energy into the ski through the camber.
Yep.
And, you know, that really makes this feel a little bit different than some of the other skis on the wall, just with that extra energy built into the ski.
In past years, changed a little bit this year, but in past years, in my mind, there were two skis, and maybe we get a new one for this year, but there were two skis that hit the same price point that just offered like really, really well-rounded performance. It was this ski and the Salomon QST 85. Yep. The QST 85 is now the QST Spark, which is more of a twin tip.
Yep.
So the Mindbender 85 remains, and if anything, maybe it's more valuable now to have as a ski because Salomon got rid of that ski.
Yeah, great value and performance at that price point for sure.
Yep, great ski to start with.
And next, a new ski for 2022. This is a Blaze 86. So they've taken that Blaze series and included one more on the narrower end of the spectrum. Really kind of carries a lot of the personality of the Blaze series into this narrower shape. Pretty darn light, 1480 grams per ski here on the scale. This one gets paired with a Marker TP10. If you want to hold up that next one, that Navigator 85, that actually has the system version of this binding.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
Pretty much the same thing. You know, just, again, a nice value-oriented binding, good performance. You know, that skier who's going to be on this ski isn't going to need that Look Pivot 18 on it.
Right.
You know, this is one of the good choices, though, if you were to kind of forego that killer deal price and put a tech binding on here for more touring capabilities. I think that's a good option as well.
Yeah, kind of two different ways you could take the Blaze 86.
Right.
For sure.
Yep, and can be, just like the other Blaze skis, can be used in the resort entirely or out of the resort entirely, putting more emphasis on the skier and what he or she wants to do. But again, same thing with the rest of the Blazes with that wood core. What they're missing in this one is that metal plate underfoot. So it is that lighter, a little bit more flexible pattern to it. Sorry. They also get the 3D radius on this ski, which, you know, for this price point, $589.95 with that TP10, is a really nice technology to have.
Yeah.
So allowing you to really make any turn shape at any time, that carries through with this Blaze. But you know, it's got still that nice flex to it. Pretty stiff, pretty energetic. We skied with the Volkl crew a couple times this year. The one time in March, a lot of their tech reps, this was their ski to ski on.
All of us were on the other stuff.
Yeah, we were all on the other stuff, and they were all on the Blaze 86. Pretty minimal camber here, you know, flatter profile for sure. Kind of nod to that softer snow mentality that these skis have. But, you know, all those tech reps just love this ski, love the energy, lightweight, ease of use.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Fits in well with that side of the wall in terms of value and price, and just a great overall ski. So there's, you know, you're going to see a lot of different people enjoying themselves on this, from, you know, that lower end intermediate all the way to that high end
Expert
industry professional who had no problems.
And I think it's important to bring up tech bindings too.
Yep.
You know, all of a sudden you put a pin binding on there, and it's no longer like an entry level ski. It's it's a narrow, dedicated touring ski.
Right.
So yeah, a couple different ways you can take that ski. And you know, we talked in the beginning of this video. We talked about the variety in price, the variety in intended skiers, and there's also a variety in. Even though we're in a pretty narrow range of widths here, from like 82 to 86.
88 with
88,
the Maverick, yeah.
True. Pretty narrow range there, but you do get a pretty big variety in the snow conditions that they're kind of intended for or geared towards. A lot of the skis up here, especially kind of as we get towards that end of the wall, are more focused on carving. I think among these skis, the Blaze 86 is one of the most soft snow oriented skis.
Yeah, I mean, very fair to say that this 86 doesn't carve like this 86.
Exactly. and that 86 is not as maneuverable or as easy to flick around as this 86. So.
I would not put a pin binding on this 86.
Exactly. So yeah, big range and just intended performance of these skis, which is cool. Next ski is the Nordica Navigator 85 CA. This is the first one that is one of those system skis that comes integrated with a marker TP211, so a little bit different than the TP10 that we just looked at, but basically the same exact thing, just an 11 din range. Navigator has changed a little bit. Nordica did have this version of it before, but I think it's fair to say that the Navigator that most people think of is the one with the hex titanium bridge. The hex titanium bridge is gone for 2022, so there's no more metal in this ski. Instead, there's carbon, and that helped them bring the price down. So with this TP211, the price comes in at $599.99. So $600 ski, comes with a binding, pretty darn good performance too. The shape of the Navigator stays the same. Actually, before that scale shuts off, 1,800 and about 60 grams. So not the lightest ski up here, not the heaviest either, as you'll see when we get down there. Nice weight. So construction changed, shape did not change. So the shape of the Navigators used this nice long tip rocker, kind of inspired by an Enforcer. That same Enforcer taper shape to the tip. The tail, on the other hand, is a little flatter, a little bit more squared off, not like a completely flat tail or squared off tail as we'll see when we get to Bob's side of the wall over there, but flatter than both the skis we've looked at so far, flatter than a lot of the skis that we're about to look at. So a little bit more of a carving focus of this Navigator ski. The tip shape's really cool because it helps you enter the turn more easily. You know, you tip this ski on edge, and basically, the further you tip it, the more you're engaging that tip and the more it's bringing you into the turn. I think that's something that Nordica skis do really well. Despite not having metal, we still get a pretty nice supportive flex pattern there, and the carbon gives it some nice responsiveness. So I always think about this ski as a great choice for somebody who is staying on trail most of the time. This is the ski that my dad skis. Actually, he has the metal version of it, but realistically, the performance is pretty similar between the two. A little bit more vibration damping from the metal, but it is heavier, so this ski is a little less fatiguing. Right. But yeah, he spends 95% of his time on groomers, and this ski is great for somebody like that. You know, it's not the most aggressive carving ski, so when you think about firm snow, it's not like super powerful ripper, but it's got really nice responsive performance for somebody who skis at more moderate speeds, which is a really nice thing to have. We talk about that a lot, you know, with skis like the Brahma, where they need to hit a certain speed to come alive. These perform really well and are a really rewarding skiing experience, even just going kind of slow, which is nice. You can take it off trail, you know, this rocker shape, it's not just completely pigeonholed to firm snow. There are certainly other skis that we're going to talk about that are more focused on firm snow, but I do think the skier choosing this is spending more time on groomers than off of a groomer. Yeah,
and I think like skiers like myself will miss the metal in this version, but I think overall this target market will not.
Yes, I agree 100%.
You know, and to further that, it's going to differentiate itself a little bit more from the Enforcer 88. So a little bit wider of a gap. You know, we used to have there was some crossover between that 85 with the hex, that hex titano bridge, and that Enforcer 88. And I think that this kind of widens that gap just a little bit, puts this more in the appropriate, you know, population market.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And now we got another addition to a existing lineup similar to the Blaze 86.
It's somewhat of a theme.
Yep.
Among all of these skis.
Yeah, these companies are, you know, just kind of filling gaps in their existing lines. This is a Salomon Stance 84. So the Stance is currently a 102, 96, and a 90. This one is narrower there is less metal and more carbon. So they have that full metal underfoot, and then they have the similar frame construction technique, but they use carbon in that window. So they cut out from that top layer and install carbon into the window, and that kind of gives the middle portion of the ski and the forebody and through the tail, a good amount of energy while keeping the weight down. So this one here, about 1,600 grams per ski in this 177. This one gets paired with an Attack 11. First one over the $600 threshold at $644.95. Still a great deal, like we're still seeing
Especially that it has metal and carbon.
It's got metal, it's got that all-mountain personality to it. I would say that this ski is definitely one of the more well-rounded skis on the wall here. Yeah, just kind of does a little bit of everything. Has that similar stance shovel shape here, so they're borrowing from that existing technology. There is a mostly sidewall underfoot, right where my fingers are. It transitions to cap, and that increases the quickness and maneuverability of the ski while keeping that metal underfoot with that full sidewall, full on grip. So we're seeing a little bit of a combination of construction techniques in this ski that give it that higher end feel while keeping it at a pretty manageable price.
Yeah.
And like we see with a bunch of these skis with carbon in it, they're pretty stiff. They flex pretty stiff, and we talk about that with the core skis as well. Just how amazingly stiff they are by using that carbon and no metal. And we do have that nice positive camber underfoot, not quite as much as that Mindbender 85, but still quite a bit. And then I would call it width appropriate rocker in the shovel and in the tail. A little bit longer in the tail. I think that this is traditionally stance oriented rocker with that long low profile, minimal splay, but still playful release to the turn.
Yep.
So just a great addition to the Stance line. Again, we've seen some high-end skiers really get a lot of performance out of that ski with not a whole lot of effort. It's easy to use, easy to ski, but has that high end. And I think we'll say that about quite a few skis here, is like, don't discount it because it's on the less expensive side and doesn't have 2 full sheets of metal. The performance is still very high end.
Yeah. No, and this is a great ski.
Yep.
There's a ton of value in this ski, and just under 1,600 grams, but you get metal in here too, so it's like a really nice balance of stability and vibration damping, but it's still quick and agile. It's just a very, very well-rounded ski. To me, it's a good comparison to the Mindbender 85. That ski feels like it's got a nice even mix of performance characteristics. This ski does too. It makes sense that the price goes up $100 because there's some metal in this ski. So as we go through these skis, you'll see the theme of, this ski is very similar to that ski. This one just happens to get material X.
Yeah. And
that's where you see the price increase and thus the performance increase. But sometimes that performance increase is pretty slight.
Right.
So like you were saying, don't just overlook skis over here, because you could buy like 2 of them.
Right.
and still have a really good time. So next ski on the wall is the Atomic Maverick 86C. This is not a new ski like the ones, the Stance and the Blaze. Those were additions to an existing line.
Yeah. This
still feels like it's kind of following the same theme because it's a lighter version of other skis. So we've talked about the Maverick TI skis quite a bit in reviews as well as comparisons. This is the Maverick 86C. So instead of metal in this ski, it relies on carbon stringers. That keeps the weight down, under 1,600 grams. Pretty darn impressive.
Yep.
A lot of these skis over on this side of the wall are really lightweight. Similar to the Blaze, I think this is one of the best soft snow skis on this wall.
Yeah.
So, say you're shopping in this width range, that having a ski under 90 millimeters underfoot is best for you, meaning you probably don't ski soft snow a lot. But if you're in that description and you you value soft snow performance, skis like this and the Blaze are great.
Yeah, for sure.
So 1,600 grams, like I said, and a nice versatile shape here. So good amount of camber underfoot. You know, a lot of these skis have a nice amount of camber underfoot, which is something that Bob's mentioned a lot. When you don't have a ton of additives in the construction, having that camber is really nice. This ski does get a good amount of tip rocker, which is where a lot of that soft snow performance is coming from. And then Atomic uses their Horizon Tech, which I don't know how many times I've tried to do this and failed. But we've talked about it quite a bit. You know, the base is kind of beveled on the sides to give it more, basically more displacement and thus more float. It's basically reducing the pressure, the upward pressure from the snow on the ski. So pretty lightweight, but pretty strong too. You know, it's carbon and wood is a good combination. You know, you can make a pretty strong ski with just those two materials. So it'll carve well too, but yeah, edge release, and I think its quickness and its agility and its maneuverability. Great mogul ski, great tree ski. You know, if you're a couple days after a snowstorm and you still want to go ski trees, but there's not much snow in there. Sometimes I find us in there on skis that are like 105 underfoot. It's like, what are we doing?
It's quite a handful.
Yeah. But skis like this are great. You know, great thing to have in your quiver for somebody here in Vermont, because we have a lot of days like that where the skiing's still good in the woods. You just don't need something wide anymore. So yeah, it'll carve, but to me, its highlight is the quickness, the agility, the maneuverability.
And I don't know if you mentioned the price on this one, $674.99 with an Attack 13 binding.
Yeah, so a little bump up in the binding.
A little bump in the binding. The other thing is, even though it's called an 86, it actually measures 88.
Yep.
So that puts it as the widest ski on this wall here. Again, adding to that soft snow personality.
Yep.
So it ends up being the similar measurements to the 88 Ti. So that makes it, you know, just kind of a lighter and quicker version of that Ti, the Maverick Ti and the 88 that's pretty darn stiff and, and a high octane ski.
Yeah, this one's a little more approachable.
Yeah. But really, really fun overall. Nice use of carbon in that ski, getting those vertical stringers into the wood core and adding to the stiffness and energy.
Yeah, and I think in general, Atomic did a great job with those Mavericks.
Yep.
We've had them in stock for a while now, and we don't talk about this very often, but people have been buying them.
Yep.
A lot of them are going out the door, and there's certainly some excitement about these Mavericks for good reason.
Yeah, definitely. This one, the Dynastar M-Pro 84, this one hasn't really changed in a couple years. They get the new name and the new top sheet. But really, this is the same ski as the Legend X84 from a couple years ago. Yep. I would say that this is pretty similar to the Mindbender 85 in terms of the simplicity of the construction. There's a couple of little technical upgrades to this that bump that price up. $674.99, so same as the Atomic. This also gets the Attack 13. On the scale here, 15 grams per ski. So a little bit heavier. Well, one of the reasons for that is their kind of older use of the polyurethane material that they now use in their hybrid core on the M-Pro and the M-Free skis in their current lineup.
Yep.
So it's mostly just these zones in the forebody and again in the tail on the sides that use that PU material. So that just gives it a damper and smoother and quieter feel. I was really impressed when I skied these a couple years ago in that Legend X84 format, where they really held well at higher speeds. I was impressed with kind of that strength and stability of this ski for, you know, not just for how simple it was, but for even just what it is. So it's really nice just overall shape and profile. We do see that nice camber underfoot like we saw in that Mindbender 85. Nice energy in there. And then, like a lot of these Dynastars now, that tip rocker, that kind of long, low profile, that has carried into the newer M-Pro series skis, specifically the 90 and the 99. And it worked really well here, and it works well in the new versions as well. And then I would say one of the flatter and less rockered tails of the grouping here.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in this all-mountain, on the all-mountain side of the spectrum versus more of the front side of the spectrum like we see in this in the Fischer.
Yeah, I always think about a lot of similarities to this ski, to the Navigator.
Yeah, definitely.
Just long tip rocker, but not much tail rocker.
Yeah, but a real clean turner. And, you know, at this value, you're getting a ton of performance. I think this is, you know, it was an overlooked ski at its time. You know, it hasn't gotten the upgrades that the newer M-Pro skis have, but I think that fits in well with kind of what we got going on the wall.
Yep.
And the type of skier that should be on this ski. And I think that's someone who really likes to ski, you know, again, mostly groomed snow trails, and, you know, doesn't mind going off-piste and venturing into the woods, bumps and whatnot. This is definitely one of the more versatile skis on the wall, and just a surprising performer. And, you know, again, we've said that a bunch where it's like, wow, this is, for what this thing is, what a high end of performance it has, and what great energy for a pretty basic and simple construction. So, big fan of these carrying through.
Yeah, and I think some people might wonder, like, you know, compared to the Mindbender 85, it's almost a $150 increase in price. And some people might be wondering, like, where's that coming from if there's not a major difference in materials? Yeah. And I think sometimes you have to think about the manufacturing process too. And milling these sections of the core of the ski, that takes extra time, and time turns into money. Yeah. So that's kind of where you're seeing that, is although the materials are the same, the construction method is more advanced on these skis.
Yeah. Yeah, but really, really great, well-rounded ski.
All right, so I feel like we're kind of crossing into a new threshold here after the M-Pro 84 into the Experience 82 Basalt. Mostly in my mind that the 82 Basalt feels like it's a little bit more geared towards carving. Yeah. And there are a good amount of skis up on this wall that are more geared towards carving and carbon. So this is another one that comes with an integrated binding system. Anytime we have that, you know, we'll have this plate on the ski, so that is increasing the weight a little bit. But this one comes in at just over 1,700 grams. Rossignol completely redeveloped the Experience skis for 2022. Pretty much all of them went a little narrower. Yeah. So what was the 88 or also 92, the widest is now the 86. There used to be an Experience 84. Now we have Experience 82. Yeah. They're also, the shape is a little bit more geared towards carving. So previous Experience skis had a good amount of tip rocker, which these skis do as well. But the difference here is there's no more early taper. So on previous generations of these skis, there was more of like an M-Pro tip shape or a Navigator tip shape. And now we have extended side cut. All trail side cut, I believe, is what Rossignol. Is that what they call it? That's what they call it. A lot of camber underfoot. You know, probably the most camber underfoot that we've seen out of any ski so far, just in terms of its rise. Yeah. Pretty unbelievable. It's kind of rare to see that much. And then not much tip rocker back here. And again, not much taper whatsoever. Probably the most squared off flat tail we've looked at so far. This ski uses a wood core and uses basalt laminates. Basalt's a pretty interesting material for ski construction. It's a volcanic rock. There's not really like rocks in here. Right. They break it down a ton and then kind of rebuild it into a laminate. But it's an interesting material for ski construction. It keeps the weight down, as we saw, and it provides a nice combination of relatively smooth feel and some responsiveness too. You're seeing it more and more in ski construction. In addition to that, we also get drive tip solution. That's something that you find on pretty much all of the Experience skis, and it's pretty cool. This ski comes in at $699.95. The next Experience we're going to look at is $200 more. So the fact that we're still getting quite a bit of technology up here is really cool. At that price point, we get a NX12 binding, so pretty proven binding system. Not like the craziest binding in the world. The biggest difference between this and what we're going to look at down there is the heel piece, but this is still a pretty strong binding system.
I would put in a word for the stand height on these too, which is a little bit higher. I don't have the exact figure, but definitely gets you up off the snow more. Again, more to that front side
carving.
Capability.
Yeah, so the highlight of this ski to me is its responsiveness when carving.
Yep.
So if you're the type of skier that stays mostly on trail, you know, we've talked a lot about skier types so far. This person, you're a groomer skier. You're an inbounds resort groomer skier. You probably spend a lot of time just cruising, kind of like blue square groomers.
Which is like what most people do most days.
Right.
You know?
I mean, even we do that a lot.
Yep, sure
it's
do.
Just very satisfying and very rewarding, not too tiring. These skis do that really well. Again, to kind of go back to speed and performance at different speeds, these perform really well at moderate speeds. You don't have to go super fast to get very rewarding carving performance out of these skis. There is kind of a speed limit. You don't want to ski them too fast and too aggressively, but for the person choosing this ski, that's not a concern. So if you're watching this video and thinking like, no, I rip, like I ski really fast, then this probably isn't for you. Rossignol makes a different ski for you. But if you're sitting there thinking like, yeah, that sounds like me. Like I like to cruise groomers and I don't like to ski ridiculously fast. There's a lot of benefits to getting the appropriate ski for how you ski, and I think this is a really good example of that.
Yep. And another note on the Basalt, a lot of that material Rossignol uses a lot in their cross-country skis as well.
Yep.
So it does have that kind of crossover mentality from the Nordic world into the Alpine world. It's a proven material that definitely works really well.
Yeah, and you know, it's not like it's a soft flex pattern in the ski at all. It's a very strong ski still, both torsionally and longitudinally. So, great value there. $700, a lot of technology, you get a binding. A lot of people love look bindings. You know, you're not going to get a look binding on any other ski on this wall, except for the Rossignol's. So, something to consider.
Up next, we got a Armada Declivity 82 Ti. These next three skis, kind of before this filming, Jeff and I were talking, and these next three, this grouping is kind of where I see some really good value in terms of performance versus price. Starting with this Declivity, $744.95. We have this one currently paired with an Attack 11 binding. But I would say that so far this is one of the most high performance all mountain carving skis that we've seen, just strictly from a performance standpoint.
Yeah, similar to how we went into more of a carving focused ski here. I agree that right here there's a nice break into we are stepping up in just overall performance.
And proven performance too with this Declivity series. So again, we're looking at a narrower version of an existing line. These Declivities, you know, now they're up to 108 on the wide end, 102, 92. There's an 88C, which was in our 88 to 90 comparison, and this 82 Ti. So this has the similar construction as the other Ti versions with the wood core, 2 sheets of metal. This top sheet has that articulated Titanal banding, so they mill out sections of this metal up front here, replace it with an elastomer material, which provides the damping and kind of a quieter overall feel. And I felt that to be the case for any Declivity Ti ski that I've been on, is that they just have a nice quiet feel to them.
Yep, good vibration damping.
Great vibration damping, a little bit softer longitudinally, as well as that torsional, which is where that articulated Titanal banding really makes sense, is being able to twist into the turn. And because that metal is still there to reinforce it, it doesn't flop. Yep. So that's kind of the ideal situation, is you're getting the energy out of the initiation phase of the ski, and it's not letting you down. So there's that high end to it as well. But really nice overall flex, full vertical sidewall, nice rocker camber rocker profile. As these declivities get wider, they do lose some of that underfoot camber and replace it with rocker in the tips and tails. So this is the least rockered of the Declivity series skis here, in both the tip and the tail. As you get wider, that profile increases. Still a good amount of low-end splay there at the tail end, but just a really fun overall ski for just a lot of A lot of different applications. I mean, I would say that this person, because of the pedigree, is looking for that more freeride oriented design and character, but in a narrower shape. And that's where this ski really stands out.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, I think like there's a lot of similarities. Really, it's closer comparison to the Experience 82 Ti.
Yeah.
But you know, same width that we just talked about in this ski, but I find this more versatile for softer snow conditions, mobiles, really a mobile ski actually. Yeah, just great all mountain ski.
Yep, 1735 grams per ski in this one.
Still pretty light. I think that's something that's always been impressive about the Declivity skis, and something that we've talked about, I'd say this year more than any previous year, is manufacturers still including metal but keeping the weight down.
Yep.
These are a good example. The metal Mavericks are a good example. And yeah, pretty cool. You know, I own a Declivity 92. I actually hadn't skied this ski until just this past year, so I didn't get to ski it the first year that it launched.
Yeah.
But yeah, very similar characteristics to my 92, just a little quicker edge to edge.
Yep.
A little bit better on firm snow, maybe not quite as much soft snow performance, but yeah, just a very well-rounded ski. Impressive for a manufacturer like Armada to come up with skis like this. You know, they're more known for their twin tips. But I think they've turned some heads with the Declivity skis.
Yeah, definitely.
Next ski is the Volkl Kanjo 84. I've always been impressed by the Kanjo. It's undergone some changes throughout its existence. I'd say this is the best yet, hands down. Pretty lightweight ski. 1,557 grams is where this one's coming in. And Volkl has 3 skis on this wall, so I think that's worth noting. You know, we got the Blaze 86 over there, we got the Deacon 84 over there. If that leans more towards soft snow and the Deacon leans more towards firm snow performance, this is just right in the middle.
Yep.
This is just an extremely well-rounded all-mountain ski. Multi-layer wood core in this ski. We get glass frame, so instead of Titanal frame that you get in the Kendo and Mantra and Katana and stuff like that, you just get like kind of an increased amount of fiberglass through the frame of the ski. That's true in the tail as well. You do get a Titanal binding layer right underfoot. It's that same kind of binding layer that we've seen in the Blaze models, not the 86, but the wider ones. It does provide not only better binding retention, but a little bit stronger feel right here underfoot. Very, very lightweight, just holding these skis. It's always impresses me how light they are. Very, very Volkl shape in this ski. So we don't get much camber underfoot, which is consistent with most of Volkl skis right now. And then we get really long, low-rise tip and tail rocker. So, you know, even tail rocker, like, at first glance, it kind of looks like it's not even there. Take a second glance, and there's actually a lot of it. It just does. There's not a lot of splay. It doesn't rise off the snow drastically. And then we get 3D radius too. So let's see. We got 24 meters in the tip, 17 underfoot, and 20 in the tail. So add up all those things, the construction and the shaping concepts, and you've just got a very versatile ski. On groomers, you know, you benefit from the glass frame, some good precision to it. Ski comes in at $744.95, again with an attack 11. So we're in the exact same price point as the Declivity 82 that we just looked at, same binding. This ski just feels a little different. You know, I'd say it feels a little more energetic than the Declivity, a little bit snappier, a little quicker. You don't get quite the same amount of vibration damping out of it, but just, yeah, very, very rewarding ski. It always impresses me how quickly it comes across the fall line.
Yes.
You know, when you're carving, it's got a very, very quick, responsive, snappy feel. But then with that long rocker and the 3D radius, you can take this thing into moguls and off-piste terrain without any major challenges. It's kind of interesting how they changed it compared to the previous version. The previous version had more taper. This ski, now that they've added 3D radius, you don't need that much early taper, so you get a stronger feeling ski on firm snow while still retaining its off-trail capabilities. Yeah. So, great ski. I would go as far as saying the Kanjo 84 is more appropriate for a bigger percentage of skiers than the Kendo 88.
I was going to ask, what percentage of Kendo 88 skiers
Should be on a Kanjo?
Should be on a Kanjo 84.
50?
Or would have more, not just that they're not good enough to ski it,
but
a Kendo, but
they'd
that
have
they
a better time.
They would enjoy themselves more.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 50.
Yeah.
The Kendo's a great ski, but with names like that, Kendo, Mantra, Enforcer, people gravitate to those skis because of the name. Then things like the Kanjo and the Navigator, those skis get overlooked a little bit. So, very rewarding ski, and certainly not one to just brush off.
Right.
It's a great ski.
Yeah.
I had, the first time I skied a Kanjo, which was the previous generation, I went into it with the mindset that we're telling you to avoid.
Right.
I went and skied it, and in my mind I was like, this is stupid. This ski's not for me. This isn't going to be very much fun. And it was maybe the most rewarding skiing experience I had that entire year. Because I was like, oh my God, these are amazing.
Right.
Like, so easy to ski, but still, it's not like they're washing out left and right. They're still pretty strong.
Yeah.
So, very, very good ski. And like you said, there's a lot of value right here.
Right. This is the next little bump up in price. This is the Blizzard Brahma 82, $774.95. It does get the Attack 13, so a little bit higher of a quality binding, a little bit better din than the previous two. But similar to the other two, we're getting the narrower version of a more established all-mountain / freeride ski.
Certainly noticeably heavier than this guy.
Yeah, 1960 just about grams on the scale. For this Brahma 82, we do get that wood core with 2 full sheets of metal on this, similar to the wider Brahma and the Bonafide 97. So it's similar construction, a little bit different shaping. It just is a little bit more front side oriented than that newer Brahma 88. So that newer Brahma 88 actually just has a little bit lower of a taper shape to it. This one's a little bit wider at the very shovel of the ski. But you just get that Brahma flex, power, strength,
ski.
Very strong ski. They do have that camber underfoot, very little bit. And then I would say one of the least amount of rockers that we've seen, certainly in this kind of all-mountain, non-carving aspect.
Yeah.
We do see that a little bit more splay in the tip, so wider distance there between the tips of the skis. That's the nod to the soft snow, the more freeride aspect of this ski. But goodness, you get this thing going up to speed, and it is about as smooth and stable and strong as you would want in a ski. I don't think it quite has the speed minimum that the Brahma 88 has, even though it has that similar construction. But just the fact that it's a little narrower, it's easier to control, quicker edge to edge versus that 88. So definitely we're hitting a new level of construction and performance here when we get to this Brahma 82. With those two full sheets of metal. That's kind of this is the first one that we see that on. And just a really well-rounded ski. We don't see as many of these here at Stowe as I would imagine.
As we should.
Yeah,
sure.
This is just one of those, upper end, advanced to expert level skis that can really do a lot when you're not skiing fresh, soft snow all the time.
Yeah, it's great. I feel like a couple of years ago we were asking a bunch of manufacturers to make us 80 millimeter underfoot carving skis that were flat, so we could put a flat binding on it. A couple of manufacturers did, and it turns out it wasn't
everyone's thing.
It wasn't everyone's thing. This is pretty much what we were asking for.
Yeah.
It's a very, very strong carving ski. It basically doesn't have a speed limit, but then you can take it and ski moguls on it and stuff like that too. So that's the idea that we were chasing, is something that performed well, that could compare against system carving skis like those over there, but just felt a little bit more versatile. I think it's impossible to talk about this ski without touching on value, because it is, we're still on the left side of the wall, so we're still on the less expensive side of the wall. This is one of the most powerful skis up here.
Right.
So Yeah, you're getting a lot of ski for a pretty impressive price.
Yeah, for under $800, that ski with an Attack 13 is pretty darn good.
Yep.
Yep.
And that trend carries through to these next two skis, even though we're bumping up in price here. And switch hands. So this ski is a flat ski. It might be a little confusing because you do see a binding on here. We've actually borrowed this pair from our rep because we haven't received our shipment yet. But this is the Evolv 84 from Liberty. This also is paired with an Attack 13, just a little bit more expensive than the Brahma. So just over $800 at $804.95. A little bit lighter, 1,870 grams, although this is a shorter length. So I would venture a guess that if we had corresponding lengths, they'd be pretty darn close in weight. But this is a great ski. We've talked about the Evolv skis a little bit, most in depth in our 2022 ski test. So these are now the narrowest skis that Liberty makes, specifically this one. Yep. This Evolv 84 is the narrowest ski that Liberty makes. Last year and the previous year they had the V series, the V72, 82, 92. These basically take the place of that, although they existed while those existed too. And they borrow their construction or take their construction. So these skis now have VMT 3.0. So there's 3 vertical struts of metal, which they actually kind of put into the graphic of the ski. Gosh, now that Rossignol has changed their construction, this is the only ski up here that uses vertical metal struts.
Yeah.
So a little bit different, and it does result in different feel, just a slightly different performance. But a very, very strong way to make a ski. The Evolv 84, like we were talking about with the Brahma 82, how it's very, very powerful. This is a very strong ski as well. One of the things that we often talk about with those vertical metal struts is their counterflexing properties. So this ski doesn't want to do that very much, which is great. That means that it stays really glued to the snow, and somewhat surprisingly, the vertical metal struts feel like they maybe provide more vibration damping than the horizontal laminates.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things that Liberty does with this ski, but you're right, when Rossignol had it in their line control,
it wasn't quite as, it was a little different.
It was different, yeah. I think that, and we first felt it, I think, when they had the V82, that was like their new ski. Yeah. And said, wow, there's something to this vertical technology for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very strong carving ski. Maybe not quite as powerful as the Brahma 82, but I think where you maybe lose a touch of high-speed power, you gain a little bit of versatility. Yeah. These Evolvs do feel quite versatile while still being very strong. So certainly something that you could take off-trail into moguls, into stuff like that. And I think it's just a little bit more forgiving than the Brahma 82 when you do that. Not as quick as something like the Kanjo 84. That ski is easier in moguls and trees and stuff like that. But the Evolv can still do it, and it's not too demanding of a ski. Overall, I would say if I had to pick a single word to describe them, it would just be smooth.
Yeah, and I've said that before about the other Evolv series skis, the 90 and the 100, that they're just incredibly quiet. Yeah. The bamboo and the poplar wood combine with that vertical metal, as they do have carbon struts in there as well. Just that combination is pretty unique. Yeah. You can point to the Kanjo and the Declivity and say, well, there's other skis that are like that, that feel like that. These have a very unique and interesting feel to them. One of the flatter and least tapered shapes. So pretty squared off tail and minimal taper in the front as well. So really long effective edge, that adds to your smoothness adjective, and then just the construction goes really well with the quietness of the ski.
And again, a great value.
Yep.
To get that level of performance and a nice versatile all-mountain ski with an Attack 13, a very high quality binding for $800 is, the middle section of this wall, it just feels like it's packing a lot of value.
And one of the other things we noticed just looking at this wall were how similar in shape this Evolv 84 were to this next up Elan Wingman 86 CTI. Yeah. From the tip to the tail and all throughout, These skis have very similar shapes.
Just a different feel from their construction.
Like about as different as it gets as far as how similar their shapes are. So we got this nice flat squared off tail on that one, and this one's a little longer, but if we put it up next to each other, just a very similar overall tail shape there.
Yep.
This Elan though, just a really ripping ski. I know you spent a lot of time on this past winter.
Yeah, I had a blast testing that thing.
And with good results. And,
yeah.
That's kind of...
Couple good falls.
Well, yeah, you got to try.
Gotta push it.
Get up, please, Bridget. Come on. That's a good one.
Push it, yeah.
1758 grams per ski with this. So still on the light side. You know, we talk about that with the ripsticks a ton, is just how light they are and how they're able to get just an amazing amount of power and performance into such a light ski. 824.99 with an Attack 13 binding. So, you know, getting up there into that low to mid 800s line, still a good value. You know,
Definitely.
You're looking at this is a top end ski.
It could be $1,000 ski.
Right.
And I wouldn't bat an eye.
Yep. They use a lot of the similar things that the ripsticks use. They use their carbon tubes along the side. They also use this beefed up material on the inside edge. So as Elan's able to use like asymmetric construction profile, so full width bolster of material underfoot here, and then it kind of angles on the inside edge. So this is the left ski here, putting more emphasis on the power and energy to the inside edge of the ski, while leaving that outside a little bit easier. So we see the smoothness in transition of this ski. That quality is similar to that of the Evolv 84 in terms of the smoothness. This one, I think, just takes the energy and the power to the next level.
Yeah,
versus
and
this
responsiveness too.
Yeah.
I was just consistently impressed with how well they came across the fall line, without like a tremendous amount of skier input. Just a little lighter and a little snappier than some of the skis we just looked at.
And they have their amphibio rocker profile, which is just a little bit different than regular rocker. So a little bit more rockered on the outside edge, a little bit less on the inside edge. You know, you kind of got to have a keen eye to see it, but you can feel that when you pinch the inside edges together, it does not move, and when you pinch the outside edges, it does. So there's a little bit of that bend on the outside of the ski, but overall pretty low, low splay, minimal splay, not a lot of taper going on here. Good camber underfoot, and then a flatter tail. It does have that little bit of extra kick out, just for that releasing of the turn, and that really coincides with that additional material coming to an end here at the tail. So not like race ski hold, but pretty darn close.
Yeah.
You know, they do add that all mountain mentality to it and versatility, while keeping it just incredibly precise and agile on firm snow.
Yeah. And even just like within Elan's line, you know, they've got 3 skis because there's a TI version of this ski, and then you got the Ripstick 88. Those 3 skis are just 2 millimeters different in width.
Yeah.
They're all very good all mountain skis. It's kind of just coming down to like you as a skier, and you know, if you're more of a mogul tree skier, there are benefits to the Ripstick.
Yeah.
But if you're more of an on-trail carver, there are benefits to this.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to kind of choose just within their line, similar to how we were discussing Volkl skis. Elan's got some nice options for how you ski.
Yeah, but just an interesting difference in the flex between this stiffer CTI and then this Evolv 84, and just how the metal orientation of the skis makes such a difference.
Yeah.
You know, nothing wrong with either one. Really just a nice overall feeling.
All right, so next ski we have up here is the Rossignol Experience 82 Ti. This is essentially the Ti version of the ski that we looked at back here, the Experience 82 Basalt. In the 82 and the 86 in the new Experience line, we have a Basalt option and a Ti option. Basically the same shape between the two. in general, the TI option is just going to be a little bit better for a stronger skier. You know, there's downsides to it too, like we talked about for like an intermediate skier. You might not want to choose this ski. There might be better options in the lighter, softer flexing side of the spectrum. We also bump up in price here to just under $900, $899.95. Big reason for that is the metal. Another reason is this gets an SPX 14. So this is probably the best, just objectively the best binding that we've seen so far. You know, Attack 13s are pretty similar, but SPX 14 is a proven binding. A lot of people really like the performance of these look bindings. So, like I said, very similar to the Experience 82 Basalt. Same shape. The TI does add some weight to it, so this ski is in the 1950 gram range. But yeah, very similar shape. So pretty long tip rocker up here. No early taper, like we talked about how they differ from the previous generation of the Experience skis. Basically the same is true in the tail. Little bit of rocker back there, no taper whatsoever.
Right.
So that shape gives this ski a very strong feel on trail. You know, that amount of camber underfoot is very good when you're on a groomer. And then we get 2 sheets of metal in these skis. So quite a bit different than Basalt. You know, Basalt's a great material for ski construction like we talked about. Metal just takes the stability and the power to another level.
Yeah.
So this to me is a really good choice for an advanced expert level skier who kind of wants a carving specific ski but also wants to be able to take it off trail.
Yes.
So when we put this wall together, we talked about actually putting this ski in our frontside comparison, which will probably top out around 80 millimeters. But this ski is so good as a carving ski that it was like very tempting to put it in there with that collection. Yeah. The difference between skis like that and skis like this is you do get a little bit more versatility out of it. So perfectly capable for an advanced expert level skier to take it into moguls. Bobby skied the Experience 86 Ti in moguls and you didn't have any issues.
No.
There's no real differences between that ski, and there are, but no major differences between that ski and this ski, just a little bit of width.
Right.
So this would still be a good mogul ski, you know, not a soft snow mogul ski. It's not a powder ski by any means, but if you don't have much fresh snow and you still want to go ski some ungroomed terrain, perfectly capable on this ski.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me its highlight is its carving performance. That's something that's consistently impressed me on these new Experience skis. I think I've skied pretty much all of them at this point, even like the Experience 80 Carbon.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm pretty impressed with all of them. You know, the construction does change the way they feel, but they're all very, very good skis. They all make a nice round carving turn shape and are just very rewarding, responsive skis.
Yeah, and we saw that from the outgoing 84 as well.
Yep.
Which I would say is more comparable to the 82
Yep.
Basalt versus this 82 Ti. So if you're that outgoing Experience 84 skier looking for a comparison, I would say that.
Or even the 86 Basalt.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This-
think that these TI versions are different. They're different animals.
Yep.
Which is great that they have that option at that end of their ski line.
Right. The 82 Ti in particular feels like they added a new ski.
Yes.
Where the rest of the Experience line, or a lot of skis in the Experience line, feel like they took existing skis and changed them.
Right.
This is a new entity.
Yeah. I would say for my money, this is the burliest ski on the wall. I don't know if you would agree with that, but my
Probably.
experience on this has been that this is probably the strongest ski that we see from a wide carving GS ski perspective. The Fischer RC One 86 GT. This ski is unchanged from last year and still just uses that thick metal, that 0.8 millimeter
Yeah.
Titanal on it.
It's race construction metal.
Yep, so 2160 grams with that plate on there. So we're north of the 2,000 gram range. We are just a little bit under $1,000, $949.99. It does get this this Fischer branded RS12 binding on it. So, you know, kind of that more integrated race system binding high performance, strong, just a strong binding, matches really well with this ski.
Yeah, you're going to see a very similar binding on the head Titan in a couple skis.
Yep. So in addition to that metal, we do get that full wood core, full sidewall. The thing making this just a little bit more manageable is this turn zone technology that Fischer uses. So they don't use that metal in the very tips on the sides. They use Baffatex, which is like a sail material.
Yeah.
So these really kind of stiff threads get woven into the front of the ski here. Just gives it a little bit more flex and ease of entry. We see it on the tail as well, leaving just the very edges of the sides of the ski towards the tail, free from that 0.8 millimeter super burly thick metal.
Yeah, sheds some weight too, which is important in the extremities of the ski.
Right.
That's where you're going to have the biggest effect on swing weight.
Yep. But still, 86 underfoot, this is a wide ski to have that type of construction.
Yeah.
And that kind of shows in this flex too, where you really got to push it to get it to go. More on trail in terms of the profile as well. We do see some nice positive camber underfoot. A little bit of tail rocker matches up with that Baffatex material in the turn zone. That's by design. And same thing in the tip, where the rocker starts right where on the side where that metal stops. So that combination of rocker and the exclusion of metal do add that all-mountain versatility to this ski. But in my mind, this thing works better on firm snow, at speed, on edge. And if you do happen to encounter soft snow or crud or any chunky stuff like that, these will not flinch. They'll go right through it.
Yep.
It's not a floaty. It's not floaty.
No.
It just goes right through this stuff, which adds to that versatility. But it's, if you get this thing on a fresh snow day, I don't think the width is going to make up for the weight.
Yeah.
So that's just, that's a sacrifice that this skier is going to have to make, saying, okay, yeah, it's a little bit wider, but it does not float like that Atomic does.
Right.
Even though it's a similar...
Or the Blaze.
Or the Blaze, yeah. Similar overall shape. These certainly are more on-trail oriented skis. But
yeah, the kind of the I remember testing this ski for the first time and just being blown away. And I think it is everything that you're saying I agree with 100%. It's a very strong ski. It likes to go through things. I am very glad that they added this Baffatex section of the ski. And it also corresponds to just ever so slight taper. It's almost more noticeable in the tail. But I'm really glad that they did that because it does give you just a little bit more control.
Yeah.
If they had built this ski with this construction and then given it a shape, more like the Rossignol that we just looked at, like total extended side cut, this thing would be just incredibly demanding. Yeah. It's still pretty demanding, but that shape adds a little bit of not even forgiveness,
right.
just maneuverability or versatility. It's important to have.
Yeah, I think it's more like accessibility. It allows most skiers to access the performance of the ski, which is a really nice thing. But just a ton of metal in here, and the corresponding performance to match.
Yep. Next ski is the Black Crow's Divus or Divus, depending on whether you're French or a silly American like us. But this ski is really cool. I think this ski often gets overlooked in the Black Crow's collection. Black Crow's is often known for their wider, more freeride oriented skis. This thing is 82 underfoot, so much, much narrower than I think most people think when they think of Black Crows. But it's a really, really good ski. It's a very, very well-rounded all-mountain ski. I feel like we were back over here on the wall when we were talking about skis with an even mix of performance characteristics. This feels like it falls under that same description.
Yeah.
Just comes in with a stronger build than some of the skis over here. So this ski is $954.95, and it comes with an Attack 13 if you're buying our killer deal. So on the more expensive side of things, but that's often what you get from a slightly more boutique-y brand like Black Crowes. I think people are accustomed to spending a little bit more money on their skis. In this ski, we get a wood core, and then we get Black Crowes H-shaped metal. So if you watched, gosh, did we have the Serpo or anything? We had the Orb in the 90 millimeter comparison. So if you watch the 90 millimeter comparison, this ski has a pretty similar application of metal to that ski. The difference is it's a little shorter. So the metal stops right there. You can see that H shape, so it's focused along the edges through the forebody of the ski, full width underfoot, and then same thing in the tail. The metal ends right there, and you get this H shape along the edges of the ski. So that allows the extremities of the ski to be a little bit softer flexing. 1,750 grams in this ski, so not the heaviest ski by any means, so pretty impressive that they can keep the weight down while using some metal. Camber underfoot, nice amount of tip rocker. I really like all of Black Crow skis that use the H-shaped metal, because the rocker starts basically exactly where the metal ends, which makes a ton of sense. And then a little bit less tail rocker back here, and I don't even know what the performance benefits are to this metal tail. Maybe just durability. But I love the way that Black Crowes finishes off the tail of their skis with metal back there. And then there's camber underfoot too. So if you think about the way that the ski is built and designed, when you're carving turns, you benefit from the full width metal underfoot. Very strong ski, good vibration damping, good torsional stiffness, going to hold an edge. 82 millimeters is pretty quick edge to edge. But then you get the benefits of not having metal up here in the tip of the ski and a little bit of rocker. So if we're to think about skis that are 82 millimeters underfoot that we've talked about so far, like Declivity 82, Brahma 82, Experience 82 Ti, this ski feels a little bit more versatile than a lot of those skis. Very good ski for somebody who wants that edge-to-edge quickness, spends most of their time on groomers, Realistically, on this whole wall, you probably spend most of your time on groomers. But you want a little bit more versatility in turn shapes and versatility in where you can take it. So, great mogul ski.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very quick. This ski is always seems to surprise and impress in our ski test.
Yeah, this was a consistent high score,
no matter who you put on it, too.
Nope, didn't matter. Yep. And everyone who tested it and skied it came away thinking, I am surprised and shocked at how well this thing goes. So just very, very well-rounded all-mountain ski. Very high-quality manufacturing. I think that's true with all of Black Crow skis. Hopefully the narrower Black Crow skis start to get a little bit more attention. We've seen strong demand for the wider Black Crow skis. We haven't talked about the Serpo yet in a comparison series, but I feel like that's going to be a pretty successful ski. That's 93 underfoot, so maybe that'll help bring some people towards the narrower Black Crows models. Yeah, and I'd give honorable mention to the Virtus as well. So the Virtus is 85 underfoot, no metal. And that was another one that we really got high marks on. Very surprising, more similar to what we would see from like the Stance 84 in terms of performance. I don't think we have it in, but I think this is a good representation, especially on this end of the wall for sure.
Yep.
Keeping in line, I guess, with that Fischer 86 GT, this head Supershape E-Titan.
A little shorter.
A little shorter, yeah. This is the only one we had, so 163 on this ski. Still north at 2,000 grams, 2030 just about. And this one with this binding here, $999. So we're just getting to that $1,000 threshold of ski and binding together. We do get that similar kind of RS12 Tyrolia head Fischer binding, which is again similar to that RC One. Just a nice overall on-trail, on-piste binding. Works really well with this system. We do get their race construction here, 2 sheets of metal. We also get their EMC circuit, so this is like the techiest ski, I would say, on the wall in terms of how they're trying to dampen the vibrations. And the theory is that it takes out the unwanted vibrations, resulting in a smoother overall feel. You know, whether it works the way they say it or not, I don't really care.
Yeah, there's some truth to it.
Sure, but it skis really, really nicely. Yeah. It is one of the least tapered and rockered skis on the wall. You definitely see that wide, pretty much flared out tip shape here. So that first point of contact is very much towards the tip. Not a whole lot of lag time there. When you put this thing on edge, hooks right up, carries right through. Slight tip rocker here. You know, very low. And then we do get kind of a more of aggressive jut here, leading to that a little bit more aggressive splay than either the Elan or the Liberty, which are a little bit lower. The tail, though, this thing's all business. Very flat, similar to how Jeff really likes that orb metal tail. This head has that as well, just that perfectly, I mean, laser level, flat metal finish. Very, very slight and incredibly short tail, turned up tail to that, you know, not really rocker, more so is just giving you the ability to release your turn, you know, so long as you're not a World Cup professional skier. But really nice overall ski from Head. We've seen these super shapes for a while now. You know, this latest iteration here. You know, just a little, this one is a versatile carving ski that can just do most everything on trail. Yeah. You know, this tail shape is pretty prohibitive for off-trail activities.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it would certainly be a handful in the bumps and trees, but on trail, you're not going to get a whole lot better in terms of this wider-bodied, stiff flex, you know, race-style construction ski.
Yeah, and Head has a whole range of super shape skis too. This happens to be the widest. I don't know if you mentioned that or not.
I did not.
So this, to me, you know, in the super shape series in general, it's the collection is 100% geared towards frontside carving.
Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to build all mountain skis really. They're building carving skis. The Titan being the widest is just like the best carving ski for variable snow.
Right.
So if you live in a place that gets a lot of snowfall, you know, even here at Stowe, like a lot of days when you want to carve, it might be like a 2 to 3 inch powder day or whatever, and there's fresh snow on the groomers. This handles conditions like that really well and lets you do your thing. Lets you just lay over powerful carves even if the conditions aren't like perfect corduroy.
Right. Yep.
I think that's the big benefit of this ski.
Yeah, but nice to see this back, and you know, certainly a different 84 than this next 84.
Yeah.
You know, similar in terms of philosophy, but the execution is considerably different, I would say.
Totally. Yeah, similar in terms of philosophy, in the sense that the Deacon line is Volkl's frontside carving line. This is the widest ski in the Deacon line. I do think it's fair to say that you get a little bit more versatility out of the Deacon 84 compared to the Titan.
Yes.
Comes from the shaping mostly, also comes from the construction too. So this ski is 2,050 grams, pretty cool integrated binding system on here. This might be the most actually integrated binding system. It's like literally built into the ski. But this ski comes in at pretty much $1,000 even, $999.99. And this is the Marker Low Ride XL13, which if you're thinking like that's just a Griffin, you're right.
Yep.
I don't know why they needed to call it something different, but it's basically the system version of a Griffin binding. So really well built ski, solid, you know, proven binding, $1,000.
Yep.
Done. This ski, you know, every time I think about this ski, I feel like it has like everything, every piece of technology that Volkl has come up with in the past 5 years.
Kitchen
they
sink
just threw it all into this ski. Yep. So we get 3D ridge through the center of the ski. We get Titanal frame. We get 3D radius. You get 3D glass, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So the fiberglass kind of like moves around through the construction of the ski more than traditional applications of fiberglass. And the resulting performance is really cool. So if you remember over there on the Kanjo, we had glass frame. The Titanal frame in this ski gives it a little bit stronger feel. Yeah. More vibration damping when you have it on edge, a little bit more precision, a little bit more responsiveness. 3D radius in this ski I think is really cool. I've always thought that, actually it's probably changed now that the Blaze came out, but before the Blaze were released, I thought you could feel the 3D radius in this ski more than the rest of skis that used it, or maybe just easier for me to access it.
Yep.
So this ski is 24 meters in the tip, 15 meters underfoot, 21 meters in the tail. So a couple benefits to that. You know, when you're on a groomer and you're linking carving turns, if you're relatively balanced in how you're weighting the ski, this thing will make some really big turns, which is pretty cool. The more you kind of push into the front of your boot, the more you kind of power up this portion of the ski right here, you can get it to flex into that 15-meter turn radius. Yeah. So pretty cool in how easily you can make different radius carves on this ski. And then having that 3D radius, the longer radii in the tips and tails. And again, we get classic Volkl shaping here, low rise but relatively long rocker. So with that long rocker and the longer turn radii in the tips and tails, they're really reducing the catchiness of this ski. Yeah. So although it doesn't have as much splay, although it's, you know, overall a stiffer flex pattern than a lot of the skis up here, it's still a pretty versatile ski. It's still pretty easy to release the tail edge. It's not, you know, not as easy as probably all 6 of these skis over here, but for an advanced expert level skier that values responsiveness, that values edge grip, that values on-trail performance, but still wants to take it off-trail, it's pretty darn good. Yeah. You know, I think it's going back to kind of my description of Volkl skis, Blaze, Kanjo, Deacon. This is definitely the most on-trail focused, and I'd say the best for most expert level skiers who value carving. You know, I think like both of these skis can be enjoyed by an expert, but if you're a strong, powerful carver, the Deacon 84 is awesome. Yeah, definitely. And I would say that this, similar to this Fischer, really prefers to go through stuff. Yep. You know, it does not waver off of its intended line or course at all. Yep. It is just very true to where you put it. So very skiers driven ski. And one of the things that you didn't mention in the kitchen sink was the full vertical sidewall as well that they've thrown in there. So my apologies. Just another aspect of this ski that really just kind of highlights that technological, you know, combination that they use, which is very effective. You know, it's really cool just to like put all these skis on the wall and you get to look at their construction firsthand. And when you pick up the Deacon, you can tell that there is something different about how this ski is built. Yeah, definitely. And then we kind of move into a little bit different of a stratosphere here with this new Kastle FX 86 Ti. This one is more similar to, I would say, Armada and Blizzard, where they're taking a wider proven model and paring it down into a narrower shape. 1620 grams per ski. This is a little bit shorter of a length. This is the 169. So pretty light for having 2 sheets of metal. Yep. So they use their wood core. They have stringers, vertical stringers that run in the wood core, sandwiched between 2 sheets of metal and 2 layers of fiberglass. So it's a pretty burly build. It's actually similar to the new FX 96 and 106 Ti, just in that narrower shape. So as that more front side oriented version, this one does get less taper and rocker, while still having that nice positive camber underfoot. You know, pretty minimal in the tail for being in this FX line, and then I would call it with appropriate rocker in the tip. So not a bad soft snow ski, really quick, excellent in the bumps. A lot of people will like this in the moguls because it has this slightly softer shovel. Yep. It's not as consistent of a flexing ski as the Brahma 82 or the Armada, but from probably the Kastle logo back, it's stiffer. So stiffer underbody and stiffer in the tail.
versus the shovel of the ski, which is a little bit more flexible. Allows you to ease into the turn. There is a little bit of that early taper to it as well, so a little bit easier to engage, but still incredibly precise and responsive underfoot and through the tail. Kastle is going to carry that premium. We're seeing this one with $12.74 with an attack 13 currently on our site. So, we're over $1,000 for the package deal here, and you're getting that quality construction from Kastle that we just have talked about for years now. That they've really just kind of stepped it up. You're holding a properly designed piece of ski equipment in your hand.
Yep, handmade.
Yep.
It goes a long way. It's sometimes hard to describe the difference between Kastle and Stockli and other brands.
Yep.
It's one of those things where you kind of have to experience it firsthand. All we can really say is that there is something to it.
Yep. Yeah, and as one of the more all-mountain end skis on this line,
totally.
on the end of this side, it does have that pedigree and that character for more versatile skiing. So if you're looking for that higher end, all-mountain,
true
all-mountain ski, this is just a fantastic choice.
Yeah, the FX line, in general, was designed originally more for off-piste terrain, soft snow. This is narrower than the original FX line of any ski, and they did have an 80-something ski in that line. But it still has that same characteristic. It's still a ski that you can take into trees, you can take into moguls, you can take pretty much anywhere on the mountain, and it's going to do just fine. Yeah,
that was our ski test big plus, was that this was just a fantastic bump ski.
Yep.
Easy to maneuver, not too stiff, but still responsive.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, we got 2 more skis to go. Next up is the Kastle MX 83. Another jump up in price here. Just a little bit of a jump from the FX 86 to this ski. So $1,374, and we have this ski packaged with an Attack 13, where the FX 86 Ti leans more towards soft snow, off-piste performance. These MX skis lean more towards on-trail carving precision. This ski comes in at 2,000 and about 30 grams. It is the 182 centimeter length. We got a wood core. We get 2 full sheets of metal in this ski. And then we also get Kastle Hollow Tech up there. That's pretty important. Wouldn't be a Kastle without Hollow Tech. And then looking at shape of this ski, really drawing a lot of influence from a frontside carving ski. Even though this is 83 underfoot, it's wider than a dedicated carving ski, the shape is pretty consistent with what you'd see from a firm snow ski. So not much tail rocker up there whatsoever, almost just like the tip.
Yeah, the very ad hollow tech, basically.
Right, it's basically just a cambered ski with a tip. There's maybe a little bit of extra rocker there as you decamber the ski. And then even less in the tail. So barely any tail rocker back there. Squared off, strong finish, very similar to what we saw in the Supershape Titan. Got that metal, that laser finish metal back there. It just looks awesome. And very, very strong build. Like I said, wood core, 2 sheets of metal, pretty darn stiff flex pattern. So this is a premium all-mountain carving ski.
Yep.
This and the next ski that we're going to look at definitely fall under the same umbrella as all-mountain carving ski, and they have just an unbelievable feel. The MX83 is a little stiffer than the next ski we're going to look at, the Laser AR, so maybe a little bit better for a heavier skier, somebody who really likes to just go super, super fast. 17.8 meter turn radius in this ski too, so it'll make some reasonably big turns.
Some longer turns.
Yeah, so it's a ski that you can take out and ski pretty fast and pretty darn aggressively. Like you were saying about that FX86, there's just something about Kastle. They have just a very, very smooth, intuitive feel for being such a powerful, strong ski. When you get on it, it just, as long as you're of a reasonable ability level, it's pretty easy to ski.
Yeah.
You know, you get on and it's like, yeah, this thing just rips and is so fun.
Yeah, you can put effort into it.
Yeah.
And you'll get the corresponding result. But you can also just kind of lean over and tip it on edge.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing makes just the cleanest, roundest turns imaginable.
Yeah, which is true of like really all the MX line.
Yeah, exactly. And that was my overarching experience with this and the other skis was that, oh my goodness, true tip to tail, you know, edge hold, and you can really feel that whole radius. In just a completely precise and high quality package.
Yeah, it is still an all-mountain ski.
Yep.
But I think it's certainly something to consider. You know, just think about yourself as a skier, whether you're on groomers more often or whether you're off groomers more often, and that should help you choose between a ski like this and the ski like the FX86
Right.
Ti.
Yeah.
You know, if you want a premium feel, if you want a high-end ski, stay within Kastle, or stay within the Stockli line. And you've got options within the line, which I think is really nice.
Yeah.
You know, with Stockli, you could go up to the Storm Rider 88 if you wanted a slightly more versatile all-mountain ski. But still get some versatility out of these skis, too. They're just a little more focused on firm snow carving performance. And just an incredibly rewarding experience.
Yeah.
Skiing an MX-83 is just so much fun.
And I would certainly rather ski the FX86 in the bumps.
Yeah, totally.
This,
Exactly.
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, like I personally wouldn't want to take that ski off trail.
Right.
If you handed me an MX-83, I'd be like, sweet, this is going to be a fun day.
Yep.
And I would ski groomers.
Yeah.
All day.
And, you know, we can talk about that price justification, too, with both of these skis, because it is amazing how pretty much everything on this wall is made from some combination of wood, metal, carbon, plastic, fiberglass.
Yeah.
You know, the materials are generally the same.
Yeah.
Yet the way that they put them together and the quality of those individual materials does add to, you know, the overall quality of the product. So $14.49 we have for this Laser AR. We do have this paired with a Marker Excel 12, so more of that race-oriented binding.
Yep.
You could certainly, I'm sure, ask for the Attack 13
Totally.
to go
Yeah,
along
if you
with
wanted
this.
an Attack 13, it would bring the price down a touch too.
Yeah.
And that would be closer to the MX.
And that would be totally reasonable.
Yep.
A little bit narrower of a footprint in that Excel 12, a little bit more race-oriented binding, but still, I think you're going to get comparable performance and end results. So just, you know, something about the quality of these Stocklis. They're a little bit lighter than that MX, 1,900 and about 20 grams. This is the 175, so a little bit shorter. Just amazing how that weight and this flex, this ability for this ski to flex, makes this one of the more precise and just high-end feeling skis that I've ever been on. Just a completely unique experience, and you know, there's no substituting for it. Nice camber underfoot. You know, it's not like as springy as something we see on that end of the wall. It has more of that flex to it. And I would say minimal to zero tail rocker. You know, just enough to cause, you know, a centimeter of splay. And then pretty similar in the tip as well. It'd be hard to argue that this would qualify as rocker.
Yeah, might as well just call it camber.
Might as well call it a full cambered ski. But the ability for this ski to flex and for the skier to access the full side cut really makes this stand apart. So 16.5 meter turn radius in this 175, you can get it all. You know, when you tip this thing on edge, it pulls you through and you can feel that shorter, tighter arc coming through.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, you know, on paper the turn radius isn't that much shorter than the MX-83.
Yeah.
But with the difference in flex patterns, this ski is easier to manipulate.
Yes.
Especially for like a lighter weight skier such as myself, where that translates to this ski making a shorter radius carve and coming across the fall line just really easily, which is very rewarding.
Right, exactly. And we see that same type of finish on the end with that metal tail. So, you know, it's just fun to talk about how that, this Fischer, the head, and this Kastle MX 83 all have that kind of metal cap to the end.
Yep.
Just adding that next level of kind of security, and
even if it's just a visual finish thing,
Yeah.
it just speaks to it being a premium high quality ski.
Yep, 100%. And just, one of those things that I would rather ski this in the bumps in the woods, all mountain, more versatile than that Kastle MX 83, just without that top end that MX has.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair to say that like the Laser AR is not the most powerful carving ski.
Right.
What's great about it and what people like about it is its refinement and how you can manipulate it and how easy it is to control. But yeah, Stockli makes a ton of skis that are more powerful than this. Like the Laser AX would probably be a slightly better comparison to the MX83. That ski's a little stiffer, different width, but I think the flex pattern and how it feels when you ski it would probably be similar. Yeah, this is just, for the level it achieves, it is extremely approachable and pretty darn easy to ski.
Yeah, and we talk about that with a lot of the Stocklis from the Storm Riders through this Laser series.
Right.
Is that they have that, and Nella on the lady side,
right,
where they have that low end capability where you don't have to be going fast or skiing too aggressively, and you still can sense the quality and the performance. You can also be at the total opposite end of that spectrum and be the best skier on the mountain and not find the limit of this.
We also had these, I specifically skied them on a softer snow day, and having the slightly softer flex pattern and the wider shape really allowed me to kind of continue carving without having much to push against. So I think that's another benefit of the Laser AR, is it performs really well in softer snow and variable conditions.
Yeah, and the cool thing about these and these Kastles is we can talk about them. If you get the chance to get on them, you're gonna feel what we're talking about. It's pretty clear, when we get the chance to get on, when we do a Stockli demo or a Kastle demo, when we get on them, it's like, oh, okay, like, yes, it is true. It does make sense.
Yeah.
These do have that next level of performance and quality to them. So it's just
Stockli Test Day is one of the most exciting days of the year.
Yeah, it's a bunch of us skiing like slalom skis and these more on-trail skis that we're not terribly accustomed to. But
it's great.
It's great. It's fun to try something outside of the norm and just impressive of what they can achieve. So that's just that's why it's on this end of the wall. Yep, 100% why.
Yep, that's where you see, to start, we mentioned there was a $900 difference on this wall. There is quite easily a $900 difference in performance between the Mindbender 85 and the Laser AR.
Yep.
And I think that's a great way to finish this comparison. Not to take anything away from skis over here. There's a ton of skiers, probably more skiers that would benefit from this side of the wall than especially the end of that side of the wall. But yeah, just really cool to see the variety in skis up here and the range and price.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, that's it. That's the Mid-80 all-mountain ski comparison. As usual, let us know if you have any questions. If you want, you can leave us a comment and try and influence what our next comparison will be, because we have quite decided yet. So yeah, I'll leave it up we'll give it 24 hours or so after this video goes up before we determine what the next comparison will be. If there's an overarching theme in the comment, then we'll go with it.
Yep.
Hopefully they don't choose like something weird.
Package skis.
What would be weird? I don't know.
None of them are weird. They're all great.
Said that. I don't know. You can choose whatever you want. So yeah, that's it. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.